checking it's working. Yeah, fantastic. So, Derek, it's over to you now, really. So, I guess you've got absolute pitch, but it's more than just hearing individual notes, isn't it? It's because if I play any old note, you can find it easily. But we think, Derek, you can hear about 20 notes at once and play them. It's quite hard because you've only got 10 fingers, but you kind of go up and down the keyboard. So normally we get someone who doesn't play the piano to come and play some clusters of notes, and you can check you out. So who's going to come and play? Anything they like. I'm going to pick on Freddie if no one else comes. Because Freddie lives about a mile away from us. Come on, Fred.
Come on, Freddie.
He's so pleased to be here. Hey, right, here we go. Freddie, just play a random selection of notes. I mean, all at once is what I meant. You play that, Derek? Yeah. Try again. Play. Go on. Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so there's that. So you're really, really quick to process sound. So that means when you're hearing something, you can play it back straight away. But also your memory, Derek, is amazing. So as we discovered yesterday, rehearsing with some of the students here, you can learn pieces really quickly and play them along. Yeah. And also you've got in that head of yours are millions of tunes, aren't there?
Tunes, yes.
So why don't we ask someone to request something, Derek, and see how you get on? Yes. Oh, superstition. Okay.
Superstition.
You've got about 100 people in front of you. What would you like them to do? What would you like to do next?
Maybe do some pop music next, Adam?
Yeah, you could do anything. Is there someone who'd like to sing a pop song?
A pop song.
I can't make a more or less subtle hint than can I? We were going through some stuff yesterday. One or two people did have a go. Yay, here we go. Fantastic. I can't see without my glasses. Who you are?
Okay.
Virginia.
Hi, Virginia. Hello, Virginia.
Hello, Derek.
Hi, Virginia. How are you? Very well.
So, yesterday you taught Derek a song, I think.
Yes, we played together my song.
Yeah. So we see if you can remember it. Can you play a little bit just to cue him in? Let Virginia just start so you remember it.
Okay.
Only the chords. cosa rotta, una gabbia di parole trattenute. Il silenzio ha un prezzo, ti presenta il conto. È difficile tenere a galla un cuore. Ti lasci andare come grani di sale su una ferita aperta. Ti lasci andare come grani di sale su una ferita aperta. Silenzi, equazioni a ripetere. Tenere a galla un cuore quando segue la sua direzione. Tu resti immobile accerchiato di paure. Il tuo cuore è bianco, ma la polvere non aspetta. Il tuo cuore è lento e la polvere allora infetta. E la polvere allora infetta. Il tuo cuore è lento e la polvere allora infetta. È difficile riparare una cosa rotta. È difficile riparare una cosa rotta.
The most brilliant thing about music, we're talking about language, and of course, language kind of divides people, doesn't it? Whereas music, I think, brings them together. And wherever we go in the world, Derek, you just have a great time. Actually, picking up on music of different cultures as well. You know, there's different subsets of the scale we talked about. Derek's very quick at that. So that was lovely. And I think also the sense of empathy and feeling, again, that people think is missing sometimes on the autism spectrum. I think music provides a framework, if you like, a context in which things like empathy and understanding can flourish. So in a sense, Derek, when you're in the airport, not being terribly happy about having to go up lots of escalators, then it seems like the environment is disabling you, whereas in this context, you're the most able person in the room. And I think that's, to me, the crucial message about music is it provides a context for achievement. So often things like autism are measured as a deficit model. If you look at the APA model, it's about cannot do this, can't do that, can't do that. Whereas I think the lovely thing about you, Derek, is here's another thing you can do. You can learn an accompaniment and play with you, you know, empathetically. Anyway, there you are, Derek. Good. Anything, questions at all, or suggestions? Or there is one other thing that you've got a very, very good at, Derek, that musicians will appreciate, that you can play anything in any key.
In any key.
So if you play, say, Flight of the Bumblebee,
Flight of the Bumblebee.
and someone needs to come and suggest a note, come and play any note. You just have to play one note. You can't get it wrong. Well, maybe you can. No, you can't get it wrong. Anything. Go on then, Derek. Flight of the Bumblebee. Come play a different note. Just to prove it wasn't a setup. Just play any other random note. Just, could be white, could be black. Somewhere near the top, because that's where it starts. There you go. Flight of the bumblebee. Flight of the wasp. Yeah, you want to do it. It's cool, isn't it? Just stand up. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. Well done. Don't think you know what the fuss is about, do you, Derek? Anyway, there's another myth. There's lots of myths that I like you bust, Derek. One is that absolute pitch means that you really care about what key something's in. And I think all the children I teach have absolute pitch. And so from lesson 1, they play everything in every key, then it gets over this little problem. Otherwise, you can go to a concert and the child refuses to play because the piano's a quarter of a tone flat or something like that. But you're very practical, aren't you? Yeah, that's good. Yes. Very good. Shall we do some improvising?
We'll do some improvising, Adam.
Okay. Because there's another myth that people on the spectrum aren't creative. Derek is intensely creative. What about if someone gives you a tune and you could improvise on it?
Somebody could give me a tune and I can improvise on it. Yes, Adam.
Maybe like a nursery tune or any... You Are My Sunshine, yeah.
You could do You Are My Sunshine.
Go on then, Derek. Right, ladies and gentlemen, what else? People can ask you questions, can't they, Derek?
You can ask me questions, yeah.
Come and play duets, whatever you like.
Play a duet, yeah.
Sing or dance. A duet? Oh, another plant. No, it's not. Here's Shobi with her violin.
Shobi with her violin.
Yes.
Shobi.
Here we go. So, Derek, I've got your name right, haven't I? Shobi. Yeah, you met about an hour ago, didn't you? An hour and a half ago. Shobi thought, what has my mother let me in for? No, anyhow, we managed to find a piece that you can both know quite well, which is going to be Paganini, isn't it?
Paganini.
Here we go. So who knows what might happen? We'll follow you, whatever you do. Okay. Are you going to give us an intro? Oh, do you want a tune?
Okay.
Derek. It's interesting, thinking of the talk earlier, music isn't really an equal temperament, you know, only pianos are an equal temperament, and violins certainly aren't. So when Derek plays the fifths, they're wrong for violin, but anyway. Right, here's the intro to Paganini. Shobi, that was fantastic. Great. There were no more plants, I don't think, are there? So come on, someone who hasn't been planning or plotting something can ask a question or come and play with Derek. You want to improvise with him. If you can play one note, Derek will build a symphony on it, I promise. Because if you don't, I'm going to get Johnny to come and do it. Johnny is Derek's manager. Come and play. No, come on. Right, we're going to play one note, Johnny. I know, no, but you will forgive me. No. Say again? Oh. Yep, it looks pretty normal, would you believe? Pretty normal, yay. Unlike Johnny's. The stuff just goes straight through. Right, Johnny, all you have to do is just go like this. Ready? Right, see who's going to win. Johnny normally plays the trumpet, but the health and safety wouldn't allow it into America. Right, someone else. A question or an idea? Yes?
song, yeah. Maybe Coldplay, Fix Shoes in.
Wow. You never know what Derek's going to say after that question. Go on then, Derek. Hi, yeah.
Hi, I'm from the UK as well. In fact,
Ah,
Derek and I are almost exact contemporaries.
right.
I grew up in London in the 1980s, and at that time there was not a lot of awareness of or acceptance of any kind of diversity, not let alone neurodiversity. And I'm wondering, I've been in the US for 10 years now, and I'm wondering, how does it feel now, Derek, compared to growing up in terms of understanding of neurodiversity? Does it feel better in the UK now? I think in the US it's getting better.
Thanks. Yeah, it's quite a hard question, I guess, but a very good one. I think, Derek, you've been a real trailblazer, not so much for people on the autism spectrum, although that, but also people with learning difficulties, because I think, Derek, you're the first person to have a sort of career, really, as someone with learning difficulties. So, Derek, you don't read or write, or you need a lot of help with a lot of things, but because of your, I think above all, it's not just a musical talent, it's ability to communicate and interact to people means that you've got a fantastic life, actually. But I think you're a bit of a trailblazer for more contemporary ideas of ability rather than disability. You know. Another mic.
Thanks. Along those same lines, but turning it around, I'm curious about how you approach educating neurodiverse children.
Say again, sorry?
How do you go about teaching the neurodiverse kids?
Yeah, so it's very diverse. So, Derek, you didn't used to let me touch the piano at all, did you? No. Derek's piano was Derek's piano, and like Romy would push me out of the way, as Derek did. And so, and also explaining wasn't much help. And also, Derek, because you can't see, you don't have a visual model. So a lot of education, particularly of children on the autism spectrum, is very visual. And I'm always saying, think about the auditory as well. So in terms of what you can hear, Derek, that was in place. It was interesting seeing Montessori's bulb. Basically 24 months up to then's pretty critical period for absolute pitch like Derek's got. You can develop it later, but it's much harder. So that was in place, but the technique wasn't. And so that involved lots of showing you what to do, didn't it? Like putting your thumb on C, and second finger, and third finger, and thumb under. And actually we did that for hundreds, thousands of hours every day. And gradually you built up those motor patterns, Derek. Basically to emancipate you to play whatever it was you wanted to play. So it's more about hinting and guiding and suggesting than telling, because very often if you tell autistic people what to do, it's perceived as a threat. So it's going with the flow and being quite, I think you're quite patient with me, Derek, and I know I'm patient with you. So, and you have to see a longer term horizon. So I say to parents, don't think 10 weeks, don't think a year, think 10 years, and where do we want to be in 10 years' time? And then you can move towards that goal gradually by having a shared set of aims. Yeah. I think there's someone else. Hi. Oh, a younger person. Hello. I think a microphone's coming your way.
Derek, can you improvise on Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
I can improvise on Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
No.
Can you play it? Do you play? Do you play? Come on, play. Okay. Okay. We'll negotiate in a minute. Go on then, do Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Is that all right? It's my thermometer. Oh, good. Michaela, I don't know how much time we've got. Okay. Okay, fine. Oh, yeah, Derek's willing, right? Yeah, madam, yeah.
Derek, what is your favorite type of music to play?
Maybe jazz music, maybe Tiger Rag.
Oh, yes. Should
What
we
was
tell
the last piece?
Tiger Rag. Okay. So there was a guy called Art Tatum, who someone, when they first saw Derek on television over here about 30 years ago, someone wrote to me who said he'd seen Art Tatum and he reminded him a lot of Derek, because Art Tatum was blind and almost certainly autistic as well. And Art Tatum, like you, Derek, didn't know when something was impossible to play. So if you heard like two pianos, Art Tatum would just play it on one piano. And you're a bit like that, Derek. So Art Tatum used to do this amazing version of Tiger Rag, which was a rag about a tiger, funnily enough. And Derek's taken it to another level, I think. So here's Tiger Rag a la Art Tatum, a la Mr. Derek Paravicini.
Okay,
Well done, Derek. Yes, and of course, I should say everything, Derek, you learn is purely by listening.
By listening.
Yeah, so we did a piano concerto in San Diego a couple of years ago, and I counted, I think it had 11,000 notes in it, which Derek learned over listening to it once a week for about a month, once a day for about a month or so. So Derek, actually your long-term memory is amazing. Your working memory isn't quite so good because you tend to get into improvised mode straight away. So it turns out different. But the good way to learn things, it's the same for all of us, is not to try to play things too soon. Just listen to them until you've got an internal model and then do it. Otherwise, the abiding memory will be of whatever you played, Derek, rather than what you heard. So that's quite important. Yeah.
I do have a question
out,
related to the internal model, actually. Yeah. So in addition to absolute pitch, synesthesia seems to be increased in autistic individuals. So I'm very curious what the musical internal model is for Derek. Is there a synesthetic component like smells or a tactile component when he's thinking of music or playing the music, obviously? And related to that, is there some kind of music that doesn't give him pleasure, that is annoying?
Derek, well, first of all, is there some music you don't like?
Not really. Like all music.
Yeah. In terms of other sensory components, there's quite a lot of sighted autistic people who have AP also have synesthesia, so they very often see colours in relation to pitch and stuff, which doesn't happen in your case, Derek. There's about 100 years ago, people started writing atonal music, Schoenberg and so on. So it deliberately avoided those expectations and anticipations. So the 12 tones could appear in any order, which deliberately avoided any grammar or repetition. So it could be, I don't know, And we did an experiment, didn't we, Darren, with you? I wrote some kind of Schoenberg. And first of all, you found it really hard to remember, Derek. And then when you did play it, you corrected it. So you brought it back into a tonal framework. Yeah. And then we tried again a month later, and it had become Wagner. So it had moved back. So he'd gone back in time to late Romantics. And then a year later, he still remembered the Wagner-esque kind of chords. So in other words, the atonal chords became tonal chords, but without a tonal center. So like... Whereas a piece of pseudo-Mozart that had the same degree of complexity, Derek remembered it perfectly a year later. So the actual syntax, that schematic memory is very important. Yeah. But apart from that, I don't think there's any music you don't like, Derek. No. Either you've got eclectic taste or no taste, Derek. I don't know. Yeah. Right. Yes. I have to wait for a microphone.
Thank you. A follow-up question. Derek, is there an instrument you would like to play rather than piano? And Adam, you showed all kids playing piano. Do you think there is a favorite instrument for autistic children?
No, I think, Derek, you just play the piano.
Just play the piano.
I think the great thing about when I'm starting with young autistic children, particularly, the piano is just so good because it's logical, but it's complex. So it's symmetrical, but it's complex, symmetrical. You can play it really simply. You can just play, or you can play it with George Shearing chords.
George Shearing chords, Adam?
So in other words, you can instantly be as simple or as complex as you like, which is great. And you can play a single melody, or you can play chords. Whereas if you compare it, say, with a clarinet or a flute, sometimes you take a finger off and it goes lower, and sometimes it's not something you can learn implicitly, which the piano you can learn implicitly. Having said that, I work with quite a few children who play dozens of instruments. Yeah. So, horses for courses. Yes, sir.
Mostly you've been talking about intervallic kind of music, chordal music, atonal, diatonic. What about polyrhythms and the ability to play two different rhythms simultaneously? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, interestingly, Derek, you have a very good sense of rhythm, but it's quite Western, so it tends to be 4/4. And rhythms of the sort you described tend to get brought into a regular metrical framework. But you can do things like take 5, can't you?
Can you do things like take 5? Yes, Adam.
Go on then. Great. One last thought or request. Derek's around all day, so yes. Yeah.
Hi, can I play a little pentatonic melody for you and invite you to do some improvisation?
You're going to do a pentatonic melody, Derek. I can use my second. Thank you. Derek says, what's next? Is it lunch? I think it might be lunch. So we're around, aren't we, Michaela? So it's a wonderful world. That well-known Italian song. Okay. Don't sit down. We're doing It's a Wonderful World. For Michaela.
What a wonderful world.